All right, so the Lenovo storage S2200, 3200 that was announced in June and now shipping and gives us an opportunity to penetrate into entry space. So far, we did not have anything except for the V3700, and always we hear that V3700 is expensive or it exceeds the requirements of the customer. So with 2200, 3200, I think we have plenty of scope to get into really entry spaces, and for attaching 2 servers to up to 16 servers via the fiber channel SANs, etc. And as you can see that the S2200 and the difference between the 2 systems is that S3200 offers double what S2200 offers in terms of capacity, in terms of I/O ports. As far as software functionality is concerned, they all offer the same features and functions, except for the converged network controller capability that S3200 offers. And of the software options that are licensed, you have automated storage tiering, which means that if you have SSD drives, then you need to purchase the automated storage tiering license. Otherwise, the thin provisioning, SSD read cache, and snapshots and self-encrypting drive support comes as standard. And only that on the S2200, you get about 64 base snapshots versus on S3200, you get about 128 snapshots. And beyond that, you need to purchase options. And it's compatible with both System X servers as well as the Sync servers. And can be used for applications such as virtualization, database, and other applications like VDI, etc. So here is the S2200 hardware basics. It supports both 3.5 and 2.5 inch drives per enclosure, and also supports SAS, nearline SAS, SAD, and SD drives. And you have to have all SAD in the enclosure. You cannot have mix of SAD and HDD, etc. And I give you dual active-active controllers, and you get up to 2 ports of each function on each controller. So you have 2 controllers, which will give you about 4 8-gig fiber channel ports, and 4 1 gig or 10 gig I2C ports, and 4 6 gig or 12 gig SAS ports. So note that the 12 gig SAS is only available on the front end for host connectivity. For expansion enclosure connectivity, it's still 6 gig SAS. And you can add up to 3 expansion enclosures, and your maximum hard drive configuration is about 96 small form factor drives and 48 large form factor drives. So capacity-wise, this is half of what S3200 offers. And it does support RAID levels of 0, 1, 5, 6, and 10. And all the components such as the hot swap, power supply drive are hot swappable and give you redundancy. So as I mentioned, S3200 provides double of what S2200 offers. Same hard drive configuration support, 2.5 and 3.5 inch. Up to 7 enclosures, which gives you about 192 small form factor drives and 96 large form factor drives. And as you can see that it offers 4 ports per controller, so you can get up to 8 16 gig fiber channels. So note that 16 gig fiber channel is not available on the S2200, only available on the S3200. And then you have about 8 1 gig or 10 gig I2C or 8 6 12 gig SAS. The converged network controller gives you about 4 8 gig 16 gig fiber channel and 4 1 or 10 gig I2C ports based on the optics that you install. So when I get into the implementation part, you will see more details on how to configure these systems. And also we will look at the web interface for management of these systems. So controller types, you have fiber channel I2C converged controller for the S3200, and you have the SAS controller, SAS only controller as well. So with this, you can get up to the converged controller. You can get up to 4 8 or 16 gig fiber channel and 4 1 or 10 gig I2C, and or a mix of 2 8 gig 16 gig fiber channel and 2 1 gig 10 gig I2C. And as you can see that the converged network controller, you can install the optics. The actual adapter is built into the motherboard of the controller, and you have to configure the port types and then use it accordingly and how you install your optics. For the SAS controller, it gives you up to 4 6 and 12 gig SAS host ports, and it has the mini SAS HD connector 8644 on the front side for host connectivity, and then you have one 6 gig SAS expansion port connection on the for the backend connectivity to the expansion enclosures, and then the connector type is SSF 8088. So again, you have 2 expansion enclosures. One is for the 3.5 inch, which gives you 12 drives in each expansion enclosures, and then you have the E1024, which offers 24 2.5 inch drives per enclosure. So dual ports, you can have a mix of 12 3.5 drives in each enclosure, and then another enclosure of 24 2.5 drives. So you can do that in a stack. And these expansion units can be added non-destructively. So here is a cabling design of redundant cabling design of your expansion enclosures, how you connect. It gives you connectivity and availability despite a cable fault or loss of one of the expansion enclosures. Top down and bottom up. And this is an eye chart. As you can see that 3 expansion enclosures supported on the 2200, whereas additional 7 on the 3200. Maximum hard drive configuration 96 for the 2.5 inch drive and 192. Also the 2.5 inch drive on that 3200. It can be purchased in a single or dual controller options. The cache is fixed. It cannot be upgraded. The fixed size is 12 gig. And today you have about 8 gig in use, and 4 is reserved for future functionality that will be offered in the next release of the code, etc. And you get about 2 ports per controller on the S2200 for fiber channel, for I2C, and for SAS, whereas you get 4 ports per controller on the 3200 for all these different connectivity options I mentioned. And SSD read cache is also standard. You have to create one read cache disk group per storage pool, and a minimum disk of 1 SSD is required. For auto tiering, you need up to at least 2 SSD drives for RAID 1 configuration. Snapshots, as I said, base 64 and can be expanded to 256 and 512. For the S3200, the base is 128, and then you can expand to 512 to 1024. And the performance highlights can support up to 80K of read IOPS and 3,300 megabytes of read and 22,400 megabytes of write for the S2200, and for the S3200 it's 120K to 6,400 reads and 5,300 writes. So in a nutshell, S3200 gives you 2 times more the capacity and expansion, 2 times more the host connectivity, 2 times more the snapshots, and 2 times more the performance. And you can always upgrade an S2200 to S3200. All it takes is that you remove the S2200 controllers and replace them with S3200 controllers. The physical form factor is same for the expansion enclosure, which can also be converted to a controller enclosure if you decide so. So if somebody purchases a 2200 today and they think that their requirements exceed that, then there is always an option to upgrade to 3200. So there is investment protection for customers. And the procedure is to simply shut down the system and swap your controllers. Configuration will remain intact as it is saved on the mid plane and also on each drive. And here is the screenshot of the fan management interface. I am seeing some pop-up messages on questions, so that they are not clearly visible for me now. I can take a break in between and answer the questions, or I can take these and answer towards the end of the presentation. Ben, let me know if you want to do it.
Yep, we'll go ahead and answer them at the end of your presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep.
Thanks. So it's easy to use, simple and intuitive interface. All you need to do is open your browser and point to the IP address of one of the controllers. So no need to install or download any plugins, etc. And it also has a command line interface as well. So it gives you color-coded interpretation for your SSD drives and SAS drives, as well as nearline SAS drives. And also you can do performance monitoring up to back 6 months historical data as well. And connecting to these controllers, you see that there is a Ethernet RJ45 management port, so you have to have these connected to the network switch, and then you will be able to access it remotely. And software features, it offers automated real-time tiering where data is monitored for every 5 seconds and then moved up and down as needed dynamically. So no need to identify your drives, etc. And also note that the HDD tiering is standard. Only when you get the SSD, then it's an optional license. Thin provisioning to optimize your efficiency with the available space, and no need to purchase more storage initially and delay your purchasing as you see the need. That's the benefits of having thin provisioning. Again, it comes standard. And you have SSD read caching. It helps you accelerate workloads. Only works with the read operations. It completely ignores the write operations. And if someone is planning to purchase the automated real-time tiering, then there's no need for them to use SSD read cache. And also only one of these is supported at once, so you cannot do both at once. Rapid RAID rebuild option, some standard storage pooling, which is similar to our SVC StoreWise product. That's also standard. And you have snapshots, and I mentioned about the base snapshots versus the expansion options. So SSD read cache basically works as an extension of the controller cache, and no license required. Just you need to have the SSDs, and maximum of 2 SSDs are needed, and minimum of 1 data is protected on the hard disk drive as well as copied to the SSD cache. And first read write will go to the HDD drive, and then the subsequent reads will come from SSD cache. So provide improved performance in read-centric workloads like VDI, some application databases, SharePoint, web servers, video on demand. And as I said, it does not help with the writes. It completely ignores the write operations. Now, automated real-time querying. Constant background scanning every 5 seconds for hot data, then hot data is moved up the tier automatically. And it uses 4 megabytes of pages of data to move up and down. Helps with read and write operations, and as I mentioned earlier, automatic tiering and SSD read cache cannot be used at the same time on the same controller. So right now, the closest that we have with the S3200 is the V3700, and some of the differences why you need to position one over the other. If somebody wants high capacity today with 8 terabyte drives, V3700 supports up to 120 3.5-inch drives, so you can get close to 1 petabyte, or you can exceed actually 1 petabyte of capacity. And with the 3200, you can only do about 96 3.5-inch drive. So you see the difference there. And then there is no support for SCOE on the S3200. That's another reason why you would prefer S32, P3700 or S3200 based on the capacity and connectivity options. Also, we don't have the replication feature available today in the S2200, 3200, but it's coming in the next release. And in the NAS space, we have the N3310 and N4610 NAS servers, and SA120 for direct attached storage. It is going to be end of life soon, and there is going to be a replacement of that sometime late in this year. And in the SAN space, you'll see the Brocade 300, 6505, and 6510 options are listed. And if somebody wants to go further, higher capacity than V3700, then the only options we have today is the V5000 and V7000 store-wise products. And then from EMC, we only have these specs reference architectures that are listed on the Lenovo website. Then the tape products are listed here. So as you can see that these price bands are from 2 to 4. You can have something from 5K up to 25K with these products. So notice that 96 2.5-inch drives on the 2200, 192 on the 3200, and up to 240 on the V3700. So here is a chart that lists your base licenses versus optional license that can be purchased. So only for SSD auto tiering is an optional license, and if you want to get more than the base snapshots, then you purchase those options. And this chart lists the top sellers model for the S2200, S3200, and then closures. There's some drive options that are available. Note that 6 terabyte drive is not available here, and I think one of the questions was what's the maximum SSD. You can see that 1.6 terabytes is the max SSD supported here, and the drives are limited. Drive options are limited, and 8 terabyte drive should be available now. I haven't checked the configuration tool. The last I know was on the July 21st. It was supposed to be available. So I will try to check that and confirm and update my charts. These are the services offerings that we have with these products. And these rates are now also configuration tools. These products are available in SSDT, VSAT, Xconfig. So formerly Blue Horizon is now the LESC. I have done some configurations in LESC so far. And orders will be fulfilled from Shenzhen, China today. Very soon we will be moving to Monterey in August timeframe. So we will get into some technical details of. Can you hear me, Ben?
Yep, you're coming in loud and clear. Yep.
All right. Somebody said that there is no sound, so maybe the problem is on the end.
Okay.
So S2200, S3200 both adhere to the LUA standard, which gives you asymmetric LAN access. So then somebody is putting a text message saying that there is no sound, so not sure what we can do here, but I'll just continue, okay?
Yeah, please do. I can see other questions coming in. So, oh, here's a yeah, no audio, no sound. That works for me. So we got some people hearing it. Not sure if it. Okay, W says we're hearing you now. So continue on.
All right, thanks. So as you can see that there is a preferred path and there is an alternate path. So both controllers serve as active. However, each controller will have one large storage pool in which you will have multiple disk groups similar to the VDisks that we have in the StoreWise products. And at any time, that pool will be served by each controller, which is the preferred controller. So storage pool 1 should be owned by controller A, and anything to that, the drives or LANs from that pool are served by controller A. And then similarly, controller B has another pool, and all the drives, all the LANs in that pool will be served by controller B. So there will be a set of LANs that are mapped to the host, where controller A is the primary, and another set of LANs where controller B is the primary or preferred path. So the system automatically load balances. So if you create the first disk group on controller A, then that will create the second one on the controller B. So it tries to maintain the best performance configuration for you, but you have the option to manually override the default settings and change and preferred to have some set of drives, some set of LANs on each controller. And if one of these controllers goes down, you can see that the host can still access the drive through the alternate path, which will be, there will be some impact to the performance because there is some latency involved because there is one extra hop. So in a typical environment, what you would be doing is that, there will be, if it's a fiber channel SAN, most likely you can have a Fabric A, Fabric B configuration, and controller A will be part of Fabric A, controller B will be in Fabric B, and you can have your hosts zoned accordingly so that each host have access to both controllers. And this is the controller block diagram. As you can see that there are two processors in the system, RAID companion processor which handles the IOs, etc. And then there is a management processor that handles some of the software features and functions. So why these systems give you better performance is because of the synchronous caching feature. Anytime there is an IO that is received by one of these controllers, it is automatically copied to the local cache and also redirected to the adjacent controller cache. So you can see that controller A receives an IO and it writes that to the local cache as well as writes to redirect to the cache on the controller B. So this is not a copy process. Incoming data is written to both controllers simultaneously. And this is very efficient as your write bandwidth is increased and latency is reduced. So these controllers have the super cache backup, and unlike the battery backup, this gives you much longer life, and other functions that are attractive on this super cap is that the recharge is much faster, as it is done in minutes versus the hours that batteries consume. And it has a life of about 10 years. It is embedded into the controller, so there is no separate screw that you can order. So if you replace a controller, then the super cap is also capacitor will also get replaced. So, and you cannot make service calls against this super capacitor. And the scalability options listed here. I won't go through all of them, but you can see that for RAID 0, the S2200 gives you, and the S3200 gives you the same minimum and maximum configuration. 16 minimum of 2 drives versus 16 max for the RAID 0. For the RAID 1, minimum max both are 2, and then RAID 5 again 3 minimum, 16 maximum, and RAID 6 4 minimum drives, and then 16 max drives. Maximum LUN size is 128 terabyte, and max LUNs per system is 1024, etc. I will forward these charts to you after the call, so you can read through these. And more scalability options, maximum hosts are 128 supported on both systems. Host is just a server that you are connecting to the storage, and the host group, when you are doing clustering, you have VMware cluster, Microsoft Hyper-V cluster, and you can have up to 256 hosts in a host group. And initiators are basically the HBA ports. So in the S2200, S3200, you first have to identify the initiators, which are the HBA ports, and each server can have multiple of them. You will have at least 1 port to up to 4 ports or 8 ports based on what adapter type is installed on the server. So Flex nodes, in private channel, they do support up to 4 ports today. And you can see that the maximum initiators, which are HBA ports, for each storage port, which is S2200 or S3200 port, is about 1024. And then the max initiators per system is 8192. And your queue depth is the same, and the SCSI reservations is the same on both systems, S2024. And the LUR support for asymmetric LAN access is supported on both. These are the drives options available on both systems. And SAD support is available it gives you protection of data at rest. If in case of the loss of equipment or damage for failure of the controllers, etc., all user data is always encrypted, and encryption function cannot be turned off. And negligible cost impact, no degradation to performance, and the encryption not necessary when changing credentials. Interoperability support, there is a spreadsheet that is also available on the storage site that you can download for interoperability details. Supported operating systems today. So one of the features that previously was not available, or that today is supported on the S2200, 3200 is the virtualization, which I talked about. Very much similar in concept to the store-wise products. There will be one virtual pool of storage, and you can create LUNs across the pool. And traditionally, you know, in our in the DS 5000, DS 3400 products, there was no virtualization. So every time you create an array, that array is one specific RAID set, and then you create LUNs from that specific RAID set. Whereas the difference is you can create LUNs across multiple RAID sets, so it gives you much wider striping capability and improves your performance, etc. So that's one of the features of the S2200 and S3200. So just to clarify, in the S2200 and S3200, from the large storage pool, you first create a disk group, and then you have volumes from that disk group or across multiple disk groups. And once you map that volume, it is considered a LUN, because now at that point a new LUN ID is assigned to that volume, so that becomes a LUN. So the mapped unit of storage is called a LUN, whereas the volume is at a time it's just a storage that is not mapped. So once it's mapped, the 2200, 3200 refers to it as a LUN. So here is a high-level view of the virtual disk construct. You know, at the lowest level, you have the physical drive, and it can be different drives. From that physical drives, you form one or more disk groups, and as it was mentioned, you can have up to 16 of the disk groups for each controller. And from that disk group here is listed as the V disk. So very much similar to the store-wise product. From this V disk, you create volumes, and once you map those volumes, they are referred to as LUNs, and that's how it is represented here in this chart. And as I mentioned earlier, traditional LUNs, you have striping at the specific RAID set level, versus when you have a storage, pooled storage, then you can stripe across multiple RAID sets. So in a nutshell, the benefits of virtual pool is wide striping that gives you increased capacity and throughput, and rebalancing is faster, and the system automatically looks at the configuration and then reshuffles the data or rebalances data across different V disks or disk groups. So it also supports large LUNs, and as mentioned, 128 terabyte spanning up to 96 drives on S2200, and spanning to 192 drives on the S3200. Large LUNs give you best performance and if it's the VMSS data store, then it helps administrators as they don't have to frequently provision storage as they provision VM. So one time large LUN is provisioned, then they can add the VMs as needed. And operating systems today support up to 16 terabyte file system, and Hyper-V actually with the Hyper-V VHD X supports up to 64 terabyte LUN size. I will come to all those questions that have been asked towards the end of this call. Just be patient. Thank you. And rebalancing, you can see that rebalancing is done at the disk group level and also at the virtual pool level. And here you see 3 disks. If they are not having the same capacity usage, then data is automatically rebalanced across other disk groups. And then at a much higher level than the disk groups, it's from volumes to disk groups, and then you can it will automatically look at the disk groups and then rebalance the data. So on the left side, what you see is volumes, and then on the right side is the disk group. And I have already covered that earlier, so there is not much I can add. Read cache was also covered before. So read cache and SSD cannot be used at the same time, and for read cache you only need a max of 2 disks. You create one disk group specifically called as you have to select that saying that this is a read cache disk group. So that disk group now serves other disk groups in that pool. And automated tiering is when you have SAS, different speeds like SAS and nearline SAS and SSD in your system. And rapid rebuild feature also rebuilds only the data that has been compromised. And if you have a drive that is 50% empty, then rebuild time is 50% faster or less. As due to the virtual pool capability, LUNs are spread across multiple RAID sets. And rebuilding of one RAID set only affects a fraction of your I/O. Snapshot, point-in-time creation, instant LUN copies made by a new set of pointers to the existing data. And writes are redirected, so no copy process is done. And it does not consume all of the capacity. It's only the minimum disk space that is in use. And it has page level incremental changes are written to the disk. And handling of the snapshot trees and the deletion of the trees, etc. So you can create snapshots of snapshots that's supported, which will result in a tree of snapshots. And if there is some branch in that tree is deleted or destroyed, you will just have another standalone tree as represented in this chart. Some of the use cases for the snapshots, you have instant backup, also maintenance windows or offload nightly backups, and you can use them for test and development purposes, and faster deployment of new VMs or new hosts. You have a golden image for a server, and now you're deploying new physical or VMs using that gold image. And then you can also offload data analytics and data mining application to the snapshots. Snapshot benefits, easy to create and low impact. All volumes are equivalent. There is no loss of performance when you create the snapshots, and opens new opportunities for daily backups and faster provisioning of your VMs, etc. And the high performance can be achieved. Write redirect uses less I/O operations than competitor products that provide copy on write. And as mentioned here, your copy on write consumes 2 extra I/O operations compared to write redirect. Leverages CPU memory on the controller, and also the page tables are kept in the memory. Thin provisioning helps you with delaying your storage purchase. You don't have to purchase all the capacity at the first day. You can delay the purchase of your capacity and expand as needed. So disk space is used only when it is written to the disk, and storage can be added as needed. And the runs can be as large as up to 128 GB. You can configure alerts based on threshold to help administrators, allocate more storage or change the current storage configuration. And oversubscription can be disabled per volume. Helps with reducing upfront acquisition costs. So again, as we get into the implementation, we can, the typical way you connect these storage systems via iSCSI fabric or fiber channel fabric. For SAS, it is only direct attached. There is no SAS switches available today. And as far as I know, there are no plans to add SAS switches for these systems. So you can connect via 8 gig or 16 fiber channel or 1 gig or 10 gig iSCSI. Dual controller gives you fault tolerance and high availability, and such that you can have your host access both controllers, volumes behind those controllers. And in this space, if you have an opportunity with the first time install, the install process is easy, and if there is a chance that not many people know that we also have these broken 8 and 16 gig switches that we can leverage with these S2200 and S3200 for fiber channel deployment. So here we are ready to access the system console, and it has built-in out-of-band management support. You can access it through web interface. No need to install any plugins. Supports IE, Chrome, and Firefox, and you can also connect it through the SMIS. It is SMIS compliant, so you can upward integrate those some other tools. CLI interface does do a lot more things than what web can do as of today, and you have scripting interface availability to HTTP, XML, and then Telnet, SSH are enabled by default. You can disable one or the other. Then for the initial setup, you have the direct connect USB. The product is shipped the micro USB cable, and I have some details on how you do the initial setup. So I have covered the SAN Manager console, color-coded, easy for interpretation, and intuitive and easy to use interface. So additional management protocols are SNMP, HTTP, APIs, and SMIS are available. There is some level of configuration that you can do, integration into the Microsoft System Center, and also VMware VAI. We don't have any support into Virtual Center as of today. And there are requests, and if you have customers who expect that these products should be integrated into the Virtual Center, then let us know, because the response from development is that this is one-time configuration, and once you configure, then you don't have to worry about it. So not a high priority, but I have seen few requests on getting these integrated into Virtual Center, and so let me know, and I can relay your feedback and have the development reprioritize. So when the system is shipped first time, it has some default IPs that you can connect to, or if you are having problems connecting, then the easiest way is to use that micro USB to micro USB cable from your laptop. Of course, for the first time, you have to install the driver, and I have listed the link to download the driver here. And once you connect, as you can see on the right side in the screenshot, the console settings, and it uses, your laptop automatically detects and says it's a COM3, and then you have to set the speed, the baud rate to 115,200, and the data bits 8, and no flow control, etc. So if you look at it, I have configured and connected successfully and ready to log in. And the default IP address is 10.0.0.2 and 10.0.0.3, netmask class C, and then the gateway is 10.0.0.1. And if you look at this screenshot, the command to configure the IP is set net IP, then provide the IP address value, then netmask, and then the subnet mask value, and then the gateway. And you press enter, and it should return success command completed successfully. So this is how you do the initial setup, and each controller requires one unique IP address. And if by default there is a DHCP on your network, and then the system receives the DHCP, it is showing that what network address is currently active. It does not give you the IP, but you can say that it is automatically detects and lists that 10.240.105.0 network. And once you configure the IP, you are ready to access the web interface. And the default login, just point the IP to the of the controller in the browser, and then you are at the login prompt. The default is manage for login, and for password is bang manage, and the HTTPS is enabled by default. Okay. And firmware update can be done from the web interface, or you can also do it through a command line via HTTP. It supports a firmware update of the storage, controller enclosures and expansion enclosures, and the drive update is a different download, and you have to do it separately. And also notice at the bottom of this screenshot is that there is in that red circle, PFU is currently enabled, which means that partner firmware update feature is enabled by default as it downloads and activates the partner controller firmware as well. So the initial step first, it will do, say, controller A firmware gets activated on controller A comes online, and then controller B is brought offline, and the firmware is activated and rebooted, and then you have both controllers up and active with the new firmware. So here is the status. It says that firmware update succeeded, restarting controllers. And it's best practice to do this at a scheduled maintenance window, and save up to good 40 minutes to 1 hour. I think it took about 40 to 50 minutes in my lab. I asked development. They said yes, yeah, best practice to set aside 1 hour to get this task done. So after you update the firmware, it's also a best practice to clear your browser cache and then relog in. Because if you are stuck at the screen where it says that initializing, please wait. If it's there for too long, say for more than 90 minutes, then you should try to clear your browser cache and then relog in. And another thing that to take note of is I have the Converge network controller on the DS3200 in my lab, and first my expectation was that you just have to install the optics and it will figure out and configure which protocol to use, whether it's fiber channel or Ethernet. That's not the case. Always the first two ports on each controller, here it is denoted as A0 and A1, is always fiber channel, and you install your optics accordingly. Otherwise, it will say that the controller is in degrade mode or something like that. And then the second two ports are Ethernet ports. So the command does not give you the option to select which port can be iSCSI, Ethernet, or fiber channel. All you can say is that I'm using a Converge network controller where I will have a fiber channel and Ethernet optics on the same controller. So the command not available. You cannot do it from the web interface. You have to log in via CLI and do set host port mode, fiber channel, and iSCSI. So or you have the option to say set host port mode all fiber channel, or set host port mode to iSCSI only. So those are the other two options. So provisioning steps. Then how much time do we have? I know we started late. Can I go for another 15 minutes?
Yep, that's fine. We technically slot this time from for another 20 minutes. So, yep, you're good.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And so first thing you do is that once you have the internet drive installed and they are showing online, no problems with the drive, then you create disk groups, which will be RAID sets, and it will automatically create a virtual pool, and one virtual pool is created on each controller. Then next step would be you would create volumes, and then if you have done your zoning properly, the worldwide port names of the hosts are automatically discovered by the storage, and they should be listed there. So you have to create initiators, which means that just assign a nickname to the host port, say that this is, say for example, ESXi application node port 1, port 2, something like that. And then you make those initiators part of the host. And then if you are doing VMware clustering or Hyper-V clustering or any other clustering, then you put them in a host group. This is optional, not required. And then you can map the shared LUNs to the hosts or host groups, similar to many other storage products. And I can go through the slides, or I can stop here and try to log into my lab system and take you through. So I think it's better to do the live demo of some of these features.
You'll need to modify your sharing within WebEx there as well, Khalid.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So share. Can you see my screen now?
Yep, sure can.
Excellent. All right. So as you can see that I am at the login prompt. All I did was type the IP address, and I will now log in. So you could see that this is the color-coded interface that I talked about. Everything is action-driven. So you have various menus on the left side, and you select one of these and go into action and perform your task. So when I selected home, I have action. I can do the initial configuration wizard. I can set up specific system information. I can manage my users and set up notifications or install the license key. And if I go into the system, and it gives you the system graphical view, and again in the actions you can configure your global spares, your network system services, etc. And you can also update the firmware and restart the system. Then you have hosts. You can create initiators, and then you can create hosts, etc., and map volumes to the host. Then in the pools, you can create disk groups and remove disk groups, create volumes through these pools. And you can also do that from volumes. You can go into create virtual volumes and modify, delete, etc. And also do snapshots. Then you have mapping, and you can look at mapping, or you select and look at map details and show that these two volumes are mapped to the host. And then you have performance. Here you can select performance metrics and monitor performance for different components, disk groups, virtual pools, etc. So we can. So I think let me take the questions now, and then show some of these configuration tasks that we can perform from here. Is that okay, Ben, or because I don't want people to keep without asking the questions?
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to get to the questions as well, so that we make sure people don't drop and miss out on the questions. So you can see the question panel, right, Khalid?
Right, I am looking at it. So it's chat panel, right? So what are the builds of each system used to get the performance numbers, number of drives, type of drive, rate, array? So typically, to get the maximum performance per development, you need about 8 SSD disk groups, about up to 16 SSDs. That can get you the max performance. I do not have the specific details. I can try to get that about what exactly the configuration was used to get those numbers that are listed up there. And then there is the reminder, do not forget to utilize this chat window. Okay. And what is the max SSD drive that can be used when? So the maximum SSD drives, you can have the fully loaded all SSD drive system up to 192 drives if you need to. But according to development, if you have a mix of drives, then up to 16 SSDs should get you the maximum performance. What is the advantage in connecting to the controller using when the expansions are using 6 gigabit SAS? The response is that you won't drive enough throughput to have bottleneck at the 6 gig SAS, and we have not received any complaints. So V3700 only supports 6 gig on the front and 6 gig on the back, but they say that it is enough to handle the performance of today. The plans to provide 12 gig SAS is sometime next year. Can you download, export the performance data? Yes, you can do that to a spreadsheet. And what is the advantage in using the same? I answered that question. On the V3700, the best practice is to use MDisk RAID array size in chunks of 8 spindles. So here with the S2200, 3200, the development recommends that you can have a 4+1 in a RAID 5 or RAID 6 configuration, or 8+1. So no more than 8 drives in a RAID configuration. And you don't have that automatic storage provisioning capability that V3700 offers. It will set the hard drive and it will create a configuration that is otherwise the optimal for somebody who's not an advanced user. So that feature is not available. Since the SA120 has been pulled, there are no options now for. Yes, I agree with you. We are pushing for that. They say that they will have something like a preview in early September and actual GA and ship support by end of October or early November. Yeah, so until that time, they are trying to get about 600 units of SA120, so we have to sell those until then. And max number of SSD drive, as I said, 16 will be the best configuration. So this is the information that I received from development. Okay.
Anything else would be overkill. Beyond 16 is what you're saying, right, Clede?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
When you have the mix of drives and queue depth, I thought I had mentioned that 128 for ISO-DM fiber channel. I'm not sure about SAS. Can you add extra disk to VDisk in order to grow it, or do you need to create a new VDisk? Yeah. So, right, so once you create a volume, the disk group, then you already have utilized the RAID set, right? And that RAID set is, say, for example, RAID 1, RAID 10, RAID 5, RAID 6. So you cannot add another drive into that disk group. However, you can create another disk group and add that disk group to the pool, and your volume can be now expanded across those multiple disk groups. And then would it be possible to have a demo system set up where a business partner can log in? I mean, John DeVito is the product manager. You can send him a request. We can see how we can do that. As of now, I have a system. I am able to do a remote demos. I have done for several partners. I can handle that, but definitely bring up your request to John DeVito. If you don't have the contact, let me know. I can provide the contact.
Yeah, so reach out to your local channel team in the business partner world, and then they can run that up the chain as well. Find ways for you to obtain one or utilize funds available to you.
Right. So I think I had covered this. You can add expansion enclosures to the existing stack of control and expansion enclosures. The performance numbers shown, yes, they are the max performance numbers. Performance and sizing tools, they are working on one. Will be available maybe early next week or something. This is a spreadsheet. It's not like the capacity manager that we have, or the disk magic or capacity magic from the StoreWise, but it should help us with creating proposals. And once that is available, I will send that to Ben. I can forward it to all the attendees. Ben, please follow up with me next week in case I forget, and I will provide access to those tools. And this is an ongoing process, the development. This is this will be the first release. There may be limitations, but your feedback will be helpful in expanding the capabilities of the sizing tool, which is going to be a spreadsheet as of now.
All right, we'll do. I'll add that to the same
and,
location as the documents.
Right. I am not aware of any snapshot application integration software. for this. Yeah, it's definitely not supported in VMware in the future. So please send me a request. I will relay this to development, and they will feel the heat. Hopefully, if you have more requests, then they might deprioritize to get some integration support in the vCenter, etc. Right now, one of the reasons that people are asking is that the notion of single console to manage their servers and storage, etc. So that's what it's driving. So the response is that this is a one-time setup. Once you have done that, then you don't need to worry about doing the day-to-day management. So, but I have definitely requested that, and if you provide more information and further requests, then I can relay that to development. So I think this is all the questions. I have seen most of the questions from Christian Direct. So thank you for all these good questions. All right, so let's get back into the demo. So we can look at the configuration wizard. The first step, when you bring the system up, you can go in to configure your system. So in the configuration wizard, you cannot provision any storage. You cannot do any storage configuration. All you are doing is configuring the system IP and protocols that you are using, administrative contact information, and event notification, and your host ports, hardware settings on your host ports like fiber channel speed and topology, etc., etc. And same as iSCSI. So here we are, date and time, and if you have a network time protocol that you want to use, then specify those details. Passwords for manage and monitor users are available that you can modify here. IP settings, you can specify static IP addresses, or you can configure it for DHCP. You can also configure IPv6.
Still there, Khalid?
Yeah. I'm here, some delay in the network.
Oh, okay.
Give me a second. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was taking those clicks.
And then we should probably get the call wrapped up within the next 5 minutes here, Khalid.
So let me go back. Okay. All right. So yeah, so you can see that the default is HTTPS is enabled, Telnet and SSH both are enabled, and you can have SMIS enabled and encrypted. Then FTP is also available for firmware updates, etc. And you can make changes to these configuration settings and some system contact details. And SNMP, email, managed logs information can be configured here. And then you have these port settings for your fiber channel. And then iSCSI, you can configure the IP address for your iSCSI target portal. And in advanced settings, you have the iSCSI IQN information, etc. that you can configure if you want to enable CHAP and enable jumbo frames, etc. And that's it. And then you can configure select finish to do the initial setup process. And yes, and so when you look at the system, give you the drive status. The drives are available, and you can look at the RAR for your components and check out your worldwide port names on your fiber channel iSCSI ports, and some settings on the system. So we can see that this is the worldwide port name of the fiber channel port, and the status is up, and then connected at 8 gigabit, and your status for the power supplies, and then you have the table of information that gives you entire view of your system, the status of all the various components. You can see that I don't have any I2C connected yet, and all my drive information, drive details, capacity, status. And if I do next, again more disk information, and then my fiber channel ports, they are all showing as up. Again, you see that this is a converged network controller, so I get 4 I2C ports and 4 fiber channel ports. So all my 4 fiber channel ports are showing up. They are connected to a flex chassis with FC5022s. The network controller information on the network interface information. Each controller has a unique IP address. You can access one IP address and manage the entire system. Then you can configure or modify your initiators. Initiators here are, these are the worldwide port names. In the discovered status, you can see that all of them are showing up as discovered, and only a couple of them are mapped. And as I said, if you have your zoning configured properly, then it will automatically discover the worldwide names, and then you can then you have the ability to add these worldwide names or initiators to a host. You can do that and select a host that's available and add it to that host. And then you have pools. If you select add this group, so you can see that this initially it is a virtual disk group, or you can set it to read cache for if you want to do some read caching. You have different drive configurations, and you have controller A and controller B. So you can, by default, it will automatically select how you want to create that disk group, but you can override and specifically select whether you want A or B to own that disk group. And if I select 2 disks, and if I try to do RAID 6, it obviously understands and it won't allow you to do that. And if I select 3, also same. And once I select 4, now its status changes to green, and I have the add option. Same thing for if I do RAID 5 and select 2, it won't give you the add option, is still disabled. As soon as I select the 3rd disk, my add option becomes available. Okay, a very easy, very intuitive process to do that. And then I think volumes we can look at, and you can select a volume and show that there is no mappings available for that volume, and you can say, add that to volume group, or map volumes by selecting map volumes, and you can select your different hosts to map a volume. So here you can see that there is, when I select this, if I can add that volume, and my volume will be read write, or I have the option to make it read only. These volumes are being accessed through ports 0 and 1 of the controller, which is the fiber channel ports. Ports 2 and 3 will be I2C ports. And I can also reset by deleting the volumes by using the reset option. So if I do apply, it is going to map that volume to a Windows host. So let me close that. And creating a volume. So specify the volume, and it will give you the capacity available on the controller A and the capacity on controller B. You can see that there is more capacity on controller B, so I can say, I want to create this on controller B, and you can verify, you can modify the changes. You can say if you want to create multiple copies, just increase that number to say 20, And if you want to create volumes across both controllers simultaneously, you can say add row, and then okay, you can see that I have added again, and now I can change this to controller A. I can say, add 15 volumes, etc. So you can do that very efficient and nice, easy to use interface, as I said. And then you have mappings. Always come and map. So here you can see that now I have 3 volumes mapped to the Windows host, and the system that we are accessing is a Windows host that, so give me a, I can go into computer management. So disk management. Disk drives. Is it the same system, right? What happened there? Is it the same system? No, I think I'm in the wrong system, so bear with me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is the system that we mapped the storage. Having some network delay, so let me try to. Yeah, I was trying to show the LAN mapping and how it shows up on the system, but for some reason this host, I'm having network delays on this host. But this is the host that was mapped. I mapped the LAN to that host. So I think that was all I wanted to show from a high level. Show the interface and how to create and map a volume and discover the volume from the host itself. So thank you for your time today, and my apologies for the initial delays. And if you still have any questions, I'm here to answer. If not, then always available through the email.
Okay. Thank you, Khalid. It's Thanks for going so in depth on the product, and I think most everybody stuck around, so it's very informative, and we appreciate it. Thanks everybody for attending. We'll send out a link to the presentation, replay, as well as the future virtual user groups. I think next month we're looking at having Intel on to talk about SSDs and PCIe adapters and so forth. So look forward to that invite, and then with that we'll go ahead and close the call. Thanks again for attending, and have a great rest of your day.